Welcome to the Tim Booker channel, where wisdom is worth sharing. Wishing you an enjoyable listening experience. Today, the book I'll be deciphering for you is titled The Heart of Parenting. This book spans over 220 pages, and I'll spend approximately 22 minutes unraveling its essence for you: how to nurture a high emotional intelligence, EQ, child who understands emotional management. When it comes to parenting, many parents find themselves troubled by their children's constant crying and tantrums. Whether it's refusing to go to kindergarten, demanding a new doll, or resisting using a safety seat, these scenarios can be challenging. Every parent wishes for an obedient and well-behaved child, but if every child were obedient 24/7, they wouldn't be children anymore. It's because they don't yet understand how to control their emotions. Some parents may respond to their children's tantrums by issuing commands, such as "stop crying" or "don't talk back." After a while, things may calm down. However, this approach can lead to unresolved issues piling up like emotional garbage and potentially causing psychological problems for the child. Children may also become rebellious toward their parents. So, how should parents communicate with their children to help them control their emotions? This book, which I'm discussing today, provides effective strategies. The author of this book is John M. Gottman, a renowned psychologist often referred to as the marriage guru. He has conducted extensive research on family relationships for 40 years and is among the top 10 influential psychotherapists in the eyes of American therapists. However, the marriage guru isn't solely focused on marriage. Even before becoming a father, Gottman spent 20 years studying child developmental psychology. After his daughter was born, this psychological master often experienced frustration, disappointment, and vulnerability himself. He discovered that many parents merely use parenting theories to regulate their children's misbehavior without paying attention to the emotions behind those behaviors. This makes it challenging for parents to communicate with their children when they are angry, sad, or scared. In turn, disciplining children's behavior becomes ineffective, and children continue to be plagued by their emotions. Gottman conducted in-depth research on 119 American families, tracking their children from age 4 to adolescence. He also followed 130 newlywed couples through the entire process of marriage and child-rearing. Through numerous case studies, observing different communication styles between parents and children, and analyzing their emotional records and psychological well-being, Gottman developed a method called emotion coaching. He emphasizes that educating children requires emotional guidance, not just intellectual intelligence. This perspective differs significantly from other parenting theories. Instead of providing a plethora of methods to control children's behavior, he encourages parents to maintain an intimate relationship with their children without interfering with their growth. Successful parenting isn't complicated, it primarily requires you to be there for your child in a specific way. This book will provide you with concrete steps on how to do that. Children who receive emotional coaching have been proven to be physically healthier, excel academically, have better relationships with friends, exhibit better self-control, and possess greater emotional health and resilience to stress. In other words, they have higher emotional intelligence. In today's episode, we will discuss what influences a child's emotional intelligence, debunk some misconceptions about raising emotionally intelligent children, and outline steps to help children control their emotions. Alright, let me explain this to you in detail. The first point is that the degree of parental responsiveness to a child determines the child's emotional intelligence. You might already be aware of the importance of emotional intelligence, but it's not just about nurturing your children. If you want your child to have high emotional intelligence, parents must possess it themselves. This is because a child's understanding of emotions is largely learned from their parents. The influence of parents on a child begins even when the child is in the womb. Behavioral psychologists have observed that a preschool-aged child requires parental attention every 20 seconds. Social science research has shown that newborns can already understand their parents' emotional cues through facial expressions and body language. At the same time, babies respond with their own facial expressions and body language. If parents can sensitively respond to their baby's cues, engage in eye contact, use gentle and soothing language, and communicate with the baby, these infants will learn emotional regulation at an earlier stage. For example, when parents play with them, babies may get excited and joyful, but they can quickly return to a calm and restful state, showing the ability to switch between different emotions. On the contrary, if parents ignore their infant's cues, such as a depressed mother not willing to interact with her baby, the baby may become passive and quiet, and as they grow, they might struggle to actively engage with society. For instance, if a new father spends too much time playing with his baby, and the baby is constantly in an excited state, this is not beneficial either. The baby will not have the opportunity to learn how to calm down by themselves. Learning to regain composure and maintain calmness can also affect a child's ability to concentrate and learn. This highlights the importance of parental interaction with newborns, as it can influence the development of a child's nervous system. This influence has a significant impact on a child's emotional well-being throughout their life. This conclusion is backed by scientific evidence, particularly related to something called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a set of nerves originating in the brain. When a person is stressed, their heart rate increases, breathing becomes faster, and the digestive system may become disrupted, potentially leading to stomach issues. These are all examples of how emotions affect physiological processes. The vagus nerve regulates these bodily functions, such as breathing, heart rate, and digestion, which are not consciously controlled by individuals. It acts as a brake, preventing the body from running too fast and losing control. For example, during a fire drill, first-grade students with higher vagal tone can quickly evacuate when the drill starts and return to a state of calm shortly afterward, allowing them to focus on learning once they return to the classroom. Children with lower vagal tone struggle to adapt in such situations and may take a long time to settle down after the drill. In summary, the higher the vagal tone, the greater the ability to regulate emotions. How can vagal tone be increased? Students have indicated that their emotional experiences during infancy play a vital role in the formation of vagal tone. For parents, paying close attention to their child's emotional fluctuations, responding to their emotions, helping them soothe negative emotions, and assisting them in learning emotional management are all essential steps in raising a child's emotional intelligence. Moreover, this attentiveness to a child's emotional needs should start before their emotions escalate. In other words, providing the attention a child needs before their emotions intensify. As children gradually realize that their parents understand them and that they don't have to resort to extreme behaviors to gain attention, they will feel loved and cared for. Alright, this covers the first point we wanted to discuss. The level of parental responsiveness directly determines a child's emotional intelligence. This places high demands on parents as well. Parents need to maintain a keen awareness of their child's emotions and fluctuations, as this forms the foundation for nurturing emotionally intelligent children. So, how can parents maintain this awareness? Let's look at a specific scenario. When Mary was dressing her 3-year-old son, she was running late for work. After a hurried breakfast and a dispute over which shoes to wear, her son's emotions became tense. Just before leaving the house, her son told Mary he didn't want to go to kindergarten and just wanted to stay home and play. After Mary firmly declined, her son sat on the floor and burst into tears. How did Mary handle this situation? In Mary's perspective, leaving home was not a big deal, and she found her son's thoughts somewhat amusing, seeing no reason for him to be upset. Her approach was to distract her child with a cookie, shift his attention, and talk to him about how interesting kindergarten life can be. Many parents adopt similar strategies, thinking that enticing the child with something enjoyable will stop the crying and make the child willingly go to kindergarten. The author points out that Mary is actually a neglectful parent. Neglectful parents tend to dismiss, ignore, or belittle their child's negative emotions. Their parenting approach involves diverting the child's attention, shutting down emotional channels, viewing the child's emotions as irrational, and therefore unworthy of consideration. They show little interest in what the child has to say about their emotions, believing that negative emotions are harmful, and they don't engage in problem solving with the child, thinking that time will resolve everything. Some parents may not intentionally act this way, but their actions in actual communication with their child do neglect the child's emotions. Let's consider another example. Kevin is the father of a 4-year-old girl whom he dearly loves. Whenever his daughter is upset, he carries her around, asking her if she needs anything, whether she wants to watch TV, go outside to play, or if chocolate would make her happier. Kevin demonstrates patience, wanting to make his daughter happy as quickly as possible. However, Kevin overlooks one crucial thing, which is directly addressing his child's negative emotions. Kevin doesn't ask questions like, "How are you feeling right now?" or "Are you not very happy?" because he believes that focusing on negative emotions will exacerbate them. He wants his daughter to be happy all the time, and this is driven by an instinct to protect her. Consequently, he consciously closes the door to emotional expression. So, what's wrong with this parenting approach? The child doesn't feel understood or comforted when experiencing negative emotions. Instead, they come to believe that their feelings are wrong, inappropriate, and not acknowledged, making them feel that something is wrong with themselves when they experience negative emotions. Imagine a 4-year-old constantly being told, "Why are you acting like a child?" or having someone pat them on the chin and ask, "Where did my little darling smile go?" The child receives the message that their feelings are wrong. Over time, they stop trusting their own feelings, leading to low self-esteem and an inability to regulate their emotions. Similarly, parents with quick tempers can also lower a child's self-esteem. These parents lack patience and may respond to their child's misbehavior with anger, warnings, or even physical punishment. They consider negative emotions as indications of the child's bad character and may even see the child's crying or tantrums as a personal affront. Particularly when fathers treat their sons this way, a stern father might believe that boys should be tough and able to endure hardship to succeed in a harsh world. They might think that expressing sadness is a waste of energy, equating it with something like grieving for a lost toy. Neglecting and suppressing a child's emotions stem from the parent's own childhood experiences. Some parents grew up in violent environments where their parents frequently quarreled. Faced with such conflicts, they may have hidden in their rooms, afraid to express their feelings or discuss their parents' issues. This likely made their parents even angrier, causing them to avoid conflicts as adults and not knowing how to discuss negative emotions with their children. Others may have grown up in poverty or neglectful families, where they took on the role of a savior from a young age. They always wanted to provide the love they didn't receive as children. They became like super parents who could handle any challenge. When they couldn't meet a child's request, they felt overwhelmed. Over time, they started to view each of the child's episodes of unhappiness as an unsolvable task, becoming more frustrated and eventually forgetting about it. These behaviors do not align with high emotional intelligence. Going back to the root causes, parents who didn't receive external help to learn emotional regulation during their own childhood don't know how to express emotions in front of their children. The author suggests that a child's negative emotions aren't actually frightening. Parents can see them as opportunities to communicate with their children and strengthen their bond, which is called empathy. Parents with high emotional intelligence can share emotions with their children. When a child expresses emotions, they appreciate it because it shows a common set of values. For instance, a mother recalls how pleasantly surprised she felt when her 4-year-old daughter retorted after being scolded, saying, "I don't like the way you talk." She was proud of her daughter's assertiveness. Parents with high emotional intelligence approach you might wonder, what should you do after noticing your child's negative emotions? The author suggests a good way is to help them label their emotions. Negative emotions come in many forms, but for a young child with limited life experience, they may not naturally distinguish between jealousy, resentment, disappointment, and loneliness. For example, if you ask them why they're feeling upset, the child might not have a ready answer. Emotion expression is something that adults need to teach, just like teaching them to read. Labeling emotions means explicitly telling the child what emotion they are experiencing and why they are feeling that way. For instance, a 4-year-old boy who sees his younger brother receiving birthday gifts while he gets none might protest loudly, claiming it's unfair. In this situation, a father might explain to the child that it's because his birthday hasn't arrived yet, and when it does, he will receive gifts, which is fair. Despite the father's explanation, he overlooks the child's feelings, and the child may still be angry. Many parents find it challenging to restrain their impulse to correct their child's thoughts, but at this point, the best thing to do is to acknowledge the child's emotions. Imagine if the father could state his observations directly to the child, like, "I understand that you want to receive gifts like your brother. It might make you feel a bit jealous." The child would feel that the father understands their emotions, and he is right. It's his brother's birthday, and he's actually feeling jealous. This way, the child would be more receptive to the father's logic about fairness. Research indicates that labeling emotions has a calming effect on the nervous system, helping children recover from negative emotions more quickly. Why is this so? The author believes that when humans express emotions, they engage their left brain, which controls language and logical thinking. When logical thinking is at play, children become more focused, aiding in regaining calmness. The more precisely a child can express their feelings, the better it is for the development of emotional intelligence. It's essential to note that, while helping a child express emotions, simply sharing your observations is often better than asking a question for which you already know the answer. For example, questions like, "What time did you come back last night?" or "Who broke the vase?" sound mistrustful and can make it seem like you're setting a trap or expecting the child to lie. The best approach is to be straightforward and share your observations. For instance, saying, "I know you broke the vase, and that disappoints me. You came back very late last night, and that's unacceptable." Sometimes, multiple emotions surface simultaneously, making it even harder for a child to interpret. For example, a child going camping might feel proud of their independence yet homesick at the same time. When they see other children appearing happy, they might wonder why everyone else seems excited while they're not. At times like these, it's crucial for parents to help children recognize their complex emotions and let them know that feeling two different emotions at once is entirely normal. Alright, that's the third point we've covered, labeling emotions for children. Children are not born knowing how to distinguish different emotions, and they need the help of adults to express their feelings. When assisting children in expressing emotions, labeling them is an effective method that can soothe the nervous system and help children recover from negative emotions more quickly. The more accurately a child can express their feelings, the better it is for the development of emotional intelligence. Sharing observations is often better than questioning the child. Now, let's move on to the fourth point, setting boundaries for behavior. Let's go back to the example of the little boy who didn't want to go to kindergarten. If it were Diana in that situation, how would she handle it? Diana sees her child upset, and she feels upset herself. She goes over to her child, gives him a hug, and tells him that it's entirely normal to want to stay home sometimes. She neither scolds nor bribes the child but suggests playing a game for 10 minutes. After that, the child should agree to go to kindergarten obediently. You might think this parent handled the situation well, and many parents do the same. However, the outcome might be the same issue repeating itself the next day. Diana is actually a typical permissive parent. They tolerate all of their child's emotions and empathize with them. However, they cannot provide the necessary guidance or help the child set boundaries for their behavior. So, what's the thinking behind permissive parents? They believe that once a child has vented their emotions, their mission as parents is complete. They tend to say yes to everything, and aside from tolerating, they believe there's nothing more to be done. In essence, this is similar to indulgence, allowing children to express emotions in an inappropriate or self-indulgent way. Over time, children under permissive parenting often fail to learn how to regulate their emotions. When they are angry, they might hurt other kids, and when they are sad, they might cry excessively, unable to calm themselves down. In fact, they may become trapped in an emotional abyss and have difficulty concentrating. Furthermore, they might develop a sense of entitlement, demanding privileges that parents cannot grant, leading to strained parent-child relationships. So, besides providing unconditional love, what should be done? Let's take a look at Lucy's approach. Faced with her son's reluctance to go to kindergarten, she starts by empathizing with him, letting him know that mom understands why he's feeling upset. This part is similar to permissive parenting, but the crucial difference lies ahead. Next, she provides guidance, telling her child how to deal with his negative emotions. Let's reenact Lucy's conversation with her child. The child says, "I don't want to go to kindergarten." Lucy asks, "You don't want to go? Why is that?" "Because I want to stay at home with you." "I see. I understand how you feel. There have been times when I wanted to stay at home and play with you rather than rushing out. But you know, I promised my colleagues at the office that I'd be there at 9, and I don't want to break my promise." At this point, the child starts crying and exclaims, "That's not fair, I just don't want to go." Lucy then holds the child on her lap and says, "I'm really sorry, sweetheart, but we can't stay at home. I guess you must be feeling very disappointed, right?" "Yes, and a little sad." "Well, I'm feeling a bit sad too." At this moment, Lucy continues to comfort the child by gently patting their head and lets them cry for a while. Then she says, "I think we know what to do now. Let's think about tomorrow. We won't have to go to work or kindergarten, and we can spend the whole day together. What do you want to do tomorrow?" "Eat ice cream, watch cartoons." "Sounds great. Anything else?" Can we go to the park and watch the squirrels? I think we can. Can Kyle come with us? Maybe, we'll have to ask his mom. But for now, shall we get going? Okay. As you can see, from start to finish, Lucy didn't divert the child's attention away from their emotions. This is quite different from nursemaid-type parents and far removed from repressive parents who blame their child. Instead, Lucy spent a few minutes tending to the child's emotions, letting the child know that she respects their feelings and considers their desires reasonable. But more importantly, she knew how to set boundaries for her child's behavior. She let the child know that she would be late because of this, breaking her promise to her colleagues. The child might feel a bit disappointed, but it's something they can handle. This way, the child has the opportunity to understand their emotions, experience them, and learn to accept these feelings. Then Lucy lets the child know that they can move beyond the sadness, and tomorrow will be more exciting. The author states that Lucy's response is the most successful parenting model supported by research. In other words, when a child cries, parents should accept their emotions but set boundaries for inappropriate behavior. For young children, problem-solving often begins with distinguishing between right and wrong behavior. If a child's behavior harms themselves or others, parents should immediately intervene, allowing the child to choose a more appropriate way to express their emotions, and clearly explain what is appropriate and what is not. When children understand discipline and the consequences of breaking it, they are less likely to engage in inappropriate behavior. Through these experiences, children learn how to regulate their emotions. For instance, you could say to a child who is angry because their younger sibling took their game console, "I understand you're angry because your brother took your game console. If I were you, I'd be angry too. But it's not right to hit him. Can you think of another way to handle this emotion?" Or if your child is jealous because their younger sister got the front row seat, you could say, "It's okay to feel jealous because your sister got there first, but using hurtful words is not okay. Can you think of a better way to deal with this emotion?" It's essential to make children understand that it's not their emotions that are problematic, it's their behavior. Parents need to grasp this point. All of a child's feelings are acceptable, but not all behaviors are tolerable. The role of parents is to set boundaries for their child's behavior, not their emotions. When parents tell children that they have the right to feel various emotions but that there are different ways to express those emotions appropriately, children's self-esteem remains intact. They also understand that adults comprehend their emotions and can help them move beyond ordinary emotions to find solutions to problems. In summary, parents should unconditionally accept all of their child's emotions but set boundaries for their behavior. Allowing a child to vent their emotions without addressing their behavior does not help them learn to control their emotions and can lead to indulgent behavior. After a child expresses their emotions, parents need to provide clear behavioral boundaries, inform them of appropriate and inappropriate behavior, and help them explore correct problem-solving strategies. So, with that, we've covered our content. Through the author's 4 points, the steps for emotional control training are presented in full. Let's recap. The first step is that parents' responsiveness directly determines a child's emotional intelligence. Parents must be attuned to their child's emotions, maintain keen awareness of their emotional fluctuations. This forms the foundation for nurturing emotionally intelligent children. The second step involves positively addressing a child's negative emotions, viewing a child's expression of negative emotions as an opportunity for communication. It's crucial to value emotions, acknowledge and listen to a child's feelings. Make them feel that parents understand them, are their allies, willing to trust and rely on parents, and believe that their emotions are normal and their judgments are valid. The third step is to label a child's emotions. Children don't naturally distinguish between different emotions, they need adult help to express their emotions. When assisting children in expressing their emotions, labeling those emotions is a useful method. It effectively soothes their nerves and helps them recover from negative emotions. Simple sharing of observations is far better than questioning the child. The fourth step is setting boundaries for a child's behavior. If a child is allowed to vent their emotions without addressing their behavior, they won't learn to control their emotions and may become unruly. After a child expresses their emotions, parents need to provide clear behavioral boundaries, inform them of appropriate and inappropriate behavior, and help them try to solve problems correctly. Well, these are the 4 steps of emotional management training. It's important to note that learning Gottman's emotional training method doesn't guarantee that family conflicts will disappear. Conflict and negative emotions are entirely normal and unavoidable in every family. However, Gottman advocates emotional management training as a good method for building a close relationship with children. With a strong emotional bond with their children, disciplining and nurturing them will naturally become more comfortable and smoother. So, today's content ends here. Congratulations, you've completed another book. Thank you for your support and attention. Please subscribe to the Tim Booker channel. Like and share it with your family and friends. Wisdom is worth spreading, and it opens the door to a better future. Thank you, and goodbye.